This is Comic Geek Speak episode 1780, Previews.
Laser beams, opinions like the seasons, and everything you read in comics, movies, games, toys, artists, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek, uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is.
I'm Adam Murdo.
I'm Shane Kelly.
And I'm Ian Levinstein. Tried to do that last one as much justice as possible without Chris here. There you go. We'll just.
I got it. It's like he's with us.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. We'll throw in as many of those as possible.
He is in spirit.
Amen to that. Welcome, one and all, to the show. And we are back yet again for previews as we try to be a little bit more regular and a little bit more early on our previous presentations.
It'll be easier the more the comic industry is a little more early and a little more regular.
Oh, yeah. Yep. 100% agree with that statement, and we'll have more on the comic industry next episode as we are scheduling a comic talk for our next release, which will go more into the sad happenings of the last week in the comic book world. So just so people don't think we're ignoring it, it is to come on our very next release. We'll talk all about what happened at DC and much, much more. Alrighty. This is issue 383 of the Previews catalog, correct?
That is correct. The August 2020 catalog featuring items mostly arriving in stores, God and Corona willing, in October.
Excellent. And the DC Connect issue is issue number 3 that we're going to be working off of for this one. So we are ready to roll in a lot of ways, and I guess we should start before we get into Image with Free Comic Book Summer. As what was originally going to be Free Comic Book Day is now Free Comic Book Summer, and it's going to be going all the way from, already started on July 15th and will be running until September 9th this year. So a whole bunch of the issues that were going to be available for Free Comic Book Day are being released in slow succession over the next couple of months to wet people's whistles for being unable to get them in person.
Sounds good.
Yep.
And, glad they're getting them out there somehow.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and a bunch of the gold offerings were already released back on July 15th, including Power Rangers Road to the Ranger Slayer. Murd will be happy to see that My Little Pony is now available. And the X-Men Free Comic Book Day issue, Captain Beyond and Captain Battle, Asterisk, and the Weirn books were all available as of July 15th. And then a bunch more on July 22nd were released, including Bloodshot and Amazing Spider-Man Venom. We had Archie Riverdale released as well on July 29th, and Stranger Things, The Boys, bunch more. And this last week, Tick, the first issue of Invincible, Lumberjanes, The Resistance, and Zoo Patrol Squad were all released as part of that offering. And today, as we record this, actually, a bunch more were released, including Blade Runner 2019, Hillbilly, The Lizard of Rusty Creek Cave, Little Lulu, and Vox Machina, or Machina, and Supermercado as well. So we got plenty of free comics that are coming and going. And The Loud House was also released. It's going to be released next week, along with Street Fighter and a bunch of others. So it's always Free Comic Book Day somewhere.
Yeah.
And DCBS continues to come through with the ones that were pre-ordered, unless they were by publisher.
Excellent. Good to hear. All right, over to Image. And Remender's back, ladies and gentlemen. On page, what's the page number? 36.
36, yeah.
Yep. The Scumbag number 1, Rick Remender and Luis LaRosa, and Moreno Dinicio on the art and the cover. Cover B by Andrew Robinson. The fate of the world rests in the hands of the worst person on it. It's a brand new ongoing series by Rick Remender, his first in a little while. That they describe it as Buzzkill meets The Boys, and an irreverent superhero story where power-wielding main character resembles a grown-up Matthew McConaughey from Dazed and Confused rather than society's idea of a hero. All right. I like the look of the art.
Yep, this is a definite winner for my money, right out of the starting gate here from Image. And I'm definitely going to be trying this out. As you said, Ian, this is the first new Rick Remender concept we've seen in a while, and I love the idea. This total degenerate biker heroin addict throwback from the late 60s, who somehow, I think he comes across a sample of a super soldier serum type drug, injects it, thinking that it's like a cheap free hit of heroin, and suddenly becomes a super powered secret agent. So it's kind of like Easy Rider meets Train Spotting meets In Like Flint meets a couple of other things. Dr. Strangelove, maybe. Yeah, so it checks a lot of my boxes. I love the alternate cover here by Andrew Robinson, which is very much like a psychedelic, like 1969 through 71 kind of image of the scumbag standing there with mid-Cold War imagery in the background, and him standing there with a bottle of booze in the foreground. Yeah, it's the time has come for us to have a good quality hero we can all look down on.
100%, yeah. And it's also good to see that this is a no-risk number 1 for retailers, which means there's no obligation from them if they're stuck with extra copies, just send them back, and that's always good to see for a first issue.
Page 42, I'm kind of interested in Commanders in Crisis, and all it had to say is the last survivors of the multiverse, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a read.
Yeah, that kind of did it for me too, Shane.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the word crisis, so.
Yeah,
that doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt either.
And the name Steve Orlando, who has done some great stuff with B, C, and D list obscure concepts in the DC universe.
Yeah.
And just reading beyond the word multiverse in the solicitation copy makes me think that it's going to have a little bit in common with a little thing called Black Hammer, in that it's about a bunch of disparate survivors, a bunch of just ragtag oddballs that survive a reality-altering conflagration and have to make their way in the world that they find themselves in on the other side of it. Plus, there's the fact that it's a murder mystery, and the victim is compassion. Someone's murdered compassion. It's ideacide. So, yeah, there's Orlando seems to have some pretty interesting, wonky ideas for this thing. And I like the characters he's put together here. And, of course, the multiverse angle, as Shane said, is always a draw. And so we've got a good high concept and a good low concept back-to-back here, right here at the beginning from Image. And so October's going to be a good month, I get the feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the artwork is... it looks like classic superhero stuff, like nothing too obtuse or out of the ordinary, but it's nice and clean, and you can see what's happening, and that's really all you need from a story like this.
Yes.
I want to jump back up one set of pages just to mention it in passing. Hey, remember Walking Dead? Well, it's back in color. They're going through their cash cow one more time over at Image and releasing The Walking Dead Deluxe. For the first time, all of this artwork from Walking Dead is there in full color. And I am honestly not sure how I feel.
I think I feel about the way they did in the late 80s and early 90s when Turner was going around adding color to classic black and white films.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem necessary to me. I mean, it may enhance some people's enjoyment, but, I don't like reading black and white reprints of comics that were originally in color, and I feel about the same way about colorized reprints of things that were meant to be experienced in black and white.
Yeah.
More power to those people who would like to see like the full tincture applied to The Walking Dead, but I'm just as happy sticking with the black and white.
I actually am pretty much in the same boat as you there, Murd. Yeah, especially artwork that was so detailed that you didn't really need the color.
Right.
It just adds an extra dimension that you're either going to like or you're not going to like. But I'd say the only work that actually I feel like benefited from this were the re-releases of Scott Pilgrim. Because I feel like, although I do enjoy the black and white of Scott Pilgrim, the deluxe like hardcover color editions they came out with are gorgeous. Which also helps that Brian Lee O'Malley was there on everything for that war, and so he was also there to help with the colorization. So it's just just another packaging for it, but not quite sure it's going to work nearly as well with The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I think about it. I mean, I like the novelty of seeing something in color maybe once, like seeing a classic movie colorized, but I don't go for the whole gambit to be colorized.
Agree, mon ami. All right, page 44. Throwing this one out there because Cinna Grace is a creator that I feel like doesn't get as much love as he should. He worked on the Iceman series out of Marvel for a while, which I actually really enjoyed, and it surprised me in a lot of ways and really gave extra depth to a story idea that I wasn't 100% sold on in the first place, which of course was the the coming out of the character of Iceman and making him a full-fledged gay character in the Marvel universe. And Cinna gave him extra life and really like a personality and a background and a cast of characters that brought that entire concept to life in new and exciting ways. And now he has a mini-series coming out of Image called Getting It Together, along with he's doing some of the artwork along with Jenny D. Fine and MX Struble. And it's pitched towards the audience for relationship drama comedies that made last year's Laura Dern Keeps Breaking Up With Me. Sorry, Laura Dean, not Laura Dern. Laura Dern's an actress. Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me into a hit. And I really like the preview pages in this. And, you can go for a little bit of romance every now and then. And heck, the Friends-esque cover that they set up for this actually kind of gets me in there even more. So I'm looking forward to this. No one told you life was going to be this way. Thank you. I got an original graphic novel on page 48. Artist and writer. So that's something that we see a little bit less these days. But Jesse Lonergan, described as Star Wars meets Black Science in an action-packed new adventure. To survive after crash landing on an alien planet, the vacationer must battle against a hostile environment, killer lizards, corporate bureaucracy, and the pessimism of her sole companion, the drug-addled captain of the ship. I believe that's
always
called
a good
drama.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And this thing is called Planet Paradise.
Yes, it is.
One of our Brian on the forums called us out a little while ago from our last previews episode to remind us to say the title of the things that we're talking about, and he makes a good point. So, Planet Paradise. OGN.
Yep. Indeed. On page 48 there, Planet Paradise. Page 53, the hardcover collection of Adventure Man Volume 1, The End and Everything After hardcover, by Matt Fraction with art and cover by the Dodsons. Adventure Man Volume 1, The End of and Everything After hardcover collects issues 1 through 4 of the series. And it's got some extra sketches and behind-the-scenes material, and usually that means a good thing with a Fraction title, as behind-the-scenes stuff tends to be very on the point with Fraction. So, did not pick it up in singles, may very well pick it up in trade.
I think I've got the first issue at least, possibly the second. Reminds me a little bit of Tom Strong, only a little more pulp, a little less super science, and certainly a little more of the family/legacy angle.
Nice. All right, sounds worth it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of Mr. Fraction, on page 57, the final volume for now, unless I decide to go back to it, of Sex Criminals has been solicited. Volume 6, which collects issues 23 through 30 and 69. Anyone could pull that off. Jumping ahead to issue 69, it is Sex Criminals. And I think that's just about it from Image for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about all I was looking at, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, nothing but the latest installments of certain series for me to talk about for the rest of the way. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
let's hop on that dark horse.
Let's do it. And what a way to start, Murd.
Norse mythology. Starting out on the first thing that Dark Horse is telling us about here on page 78 is actually something that we mentioned on previous previews some months ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be seeing a lot of that for the next few months. I get the feeling there's certain things that were solicited and then canceled due to pandemic problems and are now being resolicited, pop up in the previews for the second time.
Yep.
And this is one such thing, the Norse mythology ongoing series, written by Neil Gaiman, with artistic and authorial input from P. Craig Russell, a man who is no stranger to Norse and Teutonic myth, with some other art from Mike Mignola and Jerry Ordway, colors from Legends of the Field like Dave Stewart and Laverne Kinzierski. And future issues, if I remember correctly, are going to provide an even greater variety of artistic talent with over Neil Gaiman's adaptations of classic Eddic myths. This is something we were gung-ho about the first time we read about it, and I'm sure that our fervor has not cooled in the months since.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, with a cast of creators like that, how could you not?
Mm-hmm. That is a buy.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of buy, although it will be bought in trade with me because I have to be realistic, or possibly piecemeal digitally, but Gerard Way has a new series on page 80, and what a title! The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, National Anthem, #1. And Gerard Way has put out some pretty darn good stuff for me over the last couple of years. His Doom Patrol is weird and wacky. His Umbrella Academy is some of my favorite comics of the last 10 years. And with this one here, it's after the Analog Wars. The Killjoys lost their way and their memories. A rat chews through Mike Milgram's TV cord, and reality unravels. But when his Ramones records disappear, Mike remembers what the Fabulous Killjoys and some toy ray guns can do. That is weird as heck, and I love it.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, it's bound to be some new and interesting concepts here, and the artwork. Let's see. Well, Sean Simon's the co-writer on this one, but it looks like I think Leonardo Romero is the artist, and really liking the few colors in this. Actually, kind of make it pop in a weird way. So, very much enjoying what I've seen so far out of this.
Yeah, I myself might wait for a trade though, just the way I am.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Especially with miniseries these days, it's a good bet to wait for it all to be collected.
Yeah.
Especially with other miniseries like Colonel Weird Cosmagog coming out, which I'm sure will read lovely as a collected because it's Jeff Lemire. That's on page 83.
Page 84 has Stranger Things Halloween special.
Ooh.
We getting another series of that coming soon?
Yeah.
Or is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's.
I couldn't remember hearing a date for it.
I don't think they gave one.
Okay.
I think that the production, it was definitely halted by COVID, but before that, even I think they were waiting a little bit longer this time to get things together because I think a lot of people were busy with other projects. So I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, they're definitely doing another series because I remember seeing at least one teaser out think back in January, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Just no set release date yet.
Well, meanwhile, we can content ourselves with this interesting-looking one-shot. Since there's no Bongo Comics anymore, I can't get my annual dosage of Treehouse of Horror sequential art style. So this I think will scratch that itch.
Yeah, you just made me a little bit sad with that one, Murd. Yeah, I completely forgot about Bongo going bye-bye, and that was one of my favorite things about Halloween as well. Yeah. Oh, well. As the comic book turns.
That's right. I have my Crisis Simpsons and Futurama volume.
Best comic book ever.
Oh, do I've wasted my life.
We got a bunch of other miniseries that are mid-mini at this point, so I'll skip over those.
Yeah.
And I will mention on page 93, Alistair and Adolf by Douglas Rushkoff and Michael Avon Oeming. Damn. That's all I'll say about that collection of creators right there. It's a brand new edition of the epic, so it's not like this is the first time this has been offered. But I have yet to read Alistair and Adolf, and this might be the time. Because obviously Avon Oeming's art is always magnificent, but to work with a guy like Douglas Rushkoff, like, come on. So I will check that out probably finally, and this reprint is on page 93.
It's a heck of a story idea too.
Yep.
Legendary British occultist Aleister Crowley comes up with a mystical solution to the Nazi menace. Which may turn out to be a case of cure worse than disease. Yeah, that's really interesting story idea. And I don't think I've read anything by Rushkoff, but I know of Avon Oeming's art. And darn if that's not a strong maybe for me, too, Ian.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I might wait for a sale or something like that, but it's definitely going to wind up happening. All right, what else we got in Dark Horse?
Just a curiosity on page 99, the Incredibles 2 Library Edition hardcover.
Ah. Nice. Yeah,
collecting a whole bunch of Incredible stuff.
Yeah, we mentioned some of the Incredible stuff in the past, and I was always drawn by the fact that it's being written by Christos Gage.
Sure, yeah.
So that's well worth checking out.
That's all I had for Dark Horse.
I've got a quick trade paperback on page 95 because I think that if Chris was here, he'd be mentioning it. The trade paperback collection of David Aja's artwork and Ann Nesenti on writing of The Seeds, a hotly anticipated eco-fiction tech thriller meets love story from the award-winning visionary team of Ann Nesenti and David Aja. Like. You had me at Nesenti, and then you add in Aja, and come on. The bees are swarming. What do they know that we don't? Ooh. Yeah. So that could be well worth the pickup. All right. Over to DC?
Sure.
DC it is. As now we all have to look at a computer screen.
Some of us look at tablets.
Well, same thing. Come on. All right. Well, let's see. If I scroll past the highlights.
Yeah, I still get confused over the first few pages, just not being able to turn past them.
Yeah, same here. Batman number 100 on page 6 starts us off with that. James Tynion IV, wraparound cover by Jorge Jimenez, and backup stories by Gilliam March in there, and Danny Miki and Carlo. I'm not going to bother with that last name because I'm just going to screw it up. But it's Paguilan, perhaps. Yeah, we're at issue 100 of this particular edition of Batman, and Batman's got a new costume, and it is sure new.
Yes, it is.
I hope it's temporary. I'm sure it will be.
As do I.
Yeah.
I smell spider armor.
Oh my God, yes. 100%, because it, and not even like the Civil War one, like the original one with like the silver and all that jazz. It very much harkens me back to that, Murd. Yeah.
I think it'll last about as long as the spider armor did. It's probably just
I don't know. I like I like the fact that Batman has different costumes when they make sense.
Yeah.
If he's in a bat sub or he's going underwater, he's got like a scuba one. If he's in the Arctic, it might look like a parka with a cape or something. I like those. I'm not sure about this. And I don't like crazy weird ones whenever they crop up for something.
Yeah.
If they make sense, I like it. Now, this could be great. I'm going just on this little picture here, but I don't know.
at least it's not the rainbow Batman, Shane.
Yeah, but even that's like, because that's so classic, it's funny to me. But I wouldn't like to see it today in a weird kind of way, unless it made sense. Like if they were fighting, oh gosh, what's the? It was from Batman Brave and the Bold, the Crazy Quilt. Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh yes. Classic.
That would make sense to me, to see a rainbow colored bat suit that would have use of it. I don't know.
Well, one thing I'll say,
me.
This new costume is going to make it a lot harder to blend into the dark.
Yeah.
Because it sure as heck is shiny. Like this is Iron Batman. And like I said, it's not the worst design, but at the same time,
No, it's not.
it better not be here that long.
Yeah. Now, if you're telling me this is like spacesuit Batman, well, maybe I'd be all right with that.
Sure.
It looks like something that would be on a Starfighter. I don't.
Well, issue 101 looks like it's going to be just as important as issue 100 because Grifter's in it, and that's, I think, might be the first time. Ever since everything with Wildstorm was integrated, I'm not sure if Grifter has met Batman yet. So.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yep. Well, cool to see either way.
Yep, agreed.
I really like the cover of Detective 1029.
Oh, yeah. Is the Mirror new? Because that doesn't sound like a familiar name to me.
It did not sound familiar to me. I didn't go looking at it beyond that, but it does not sound familiar.
The cover of number 1028, which is on page 9, claims that it is a new character.
Got it.
Created by one Peter J. Tomasi, one-time editor and frequent writer for DC. And I've come to trust him as a storyteller, and I'm interested to see what this Mirror character is going to be like. Just a side note here, there actually is a classic, well, quote-unquote classic, like 50s Batman villain called the Mirror Man.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if this is going to be just like a heavily revamped New 52, DC Rebirth, whatever phase we're in right now, version of that character. If his name turns out to be Floyd Ventress, you heard it here first.
Okay.
Well, we're going to be waiting with bated breath on that one.
Yeah.
And start holding it now.
Yep. You know what? Let it out. It's okay. All right, good. Well done. Nicholas Scott on 1028 and Kenneth Rockefeller on 1029, by the way. So Tomasi is getting some good help on his detective run.
Page 11 has the last issue of Batgirl. Issue 50.
That surprises me.
It did me as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess there's gonna be a new volume on the horizon because I don't see this, and they do say series finale on there as opposed to final issue.
That's true. That's true.
That could just be fitting flavor text, but at the same time, I'm thinking give it 2 or 3 months and we'll be seeing either an Oracle series or a Batgirl series.
Yeah,
48 pages too.
Yep. But also then again, with all the changes at DC, we might be seeing a bunch of cancellations.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yep. It's going to be an interesting few months, gents. Endless Winter?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Huh. They sure don't give us any information.
It's blue.
Abadi Abadai.
Page 15 has Rorschach number 1. I don't know if I'll pick this up monthly or if I'll wait for a trade or whatever down the road.
I have officially decided that if it's Tom King, I'm reading it collected. And it's nothing against Tom. It's just his stories are usually so paced that they read better all in one than waiting month to month. And I think that's definitely going to be the case here.
Well, and some of it for me too, and this was with any Watchmen characters coming into the DC universe or in whatever it is, I'm not sure that I need to have it in an issue format. In reading enjoyment aside, it just isn't high on my radar to get and read every month. I just as soon get it collected and read it all together.
Right.
No matter what it's about.
Yeah. And this may very well be a different Rorschach than the one we even saw.
Oh, absolutely.
In Doomsday Clock. So
yeah, it could be.
Yep. Yeah. Because Tom's been very nebulous about that with his wording, that it's not necessarily the one that you think it is.
Yeah.
It may be several. And what I've gleaned is that from Tom's POV, this is basically going to be more about Rorschach as an idea than it is about Rorschach as any single person.
Sure.
Good point.
What astonishes me, I like the looks of the single page of sample art here, but I can't believe that it's not a 9-panel page.
Huh. That's a very good point. I guess they're really breaking out from the norm, huh?
Mm-hmm. And it's Watchmen. It's also Tom, who loves that 9-panel grid, but it does show off what this artist is able to do, though.
And I like the idea on the top of the next page, 17. The year is 2020, so in this timeline, we've caught up to what our reality is, year-wise.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and for that matter, we're not told whether this is Watchmen universe or DC universe. The only thing I saw, it says it's been 35 years since Ozymandias dropped a giant interdimensional squid on New York City. Right.
So I was kind of going with the normal timeline we've known.
Yeah.
But who knows? That could still change.
Yeah. No, you're more than likely right. It's just with Doomsday Clock, I never know.
Right.
Yeah. On page 20, Scott Snyder returns to the world of American Vampire. And this one's set in the past. It's American Vampire 1976. And Raphael Albuquerque is back on art with him. And American Vampire has been a favorite for quite some time, and I'm happy to see it back.
And he's looking like a Mr. Evil Knievel.
Yes, he is. Or maybe even a Ghost Rider.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Look at that cover for DC The Doomed and the Damned. That is very 90s.
Yes, it is.
Oh, Kyle Hotz. Yeah, enough said.
Yep. I personally think I'm going to be skipping that one, but hey, Halloween, I guess.
Definitely Halloween. But alternatively, there's the very next thing on page 23.
Yep.
Legend of the Swamp Thing Halloween Spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one looks a lot more appealing. Especially with the
creators turning in work for this one.
Yep. Tom King, James Tinian, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Ram V or Ram 5, and Vita Ayala. And then the art is Mike Perkins, Emma Rios, Christian Ward, and Damo Stanton, and more for that matter. So yeah, this looks to be the Halloween issue of choice, definitely.
Yeah. Page 24, Batman 3 Jokers, number 3 comes out, finishing that story. And I saw later in this solicitation the collected edition's also solicited or solicited.
Already a hardcover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because I mean this one is another one that suffered not just from COVID delays but delays in general. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was mostly done already. And it's just that much easier to get out the collected edition.
Yep.
Dark Knight's death metal number 4 strikes me because not only that image, who or what is the Darkest Knight? And he looks like he's licking what looks a lot like a Watchman smile, only with a frown. Written by Snyder, and the art's by Capullo and Glapion. Ah, damn it! I didn't want to pick up Dark Knight's death metal, and now I am. The good old dark multiverse always winds up getting me sucked in one way or the other, because that looks cool enough to interest me. And then on the very next one, Death Metal Rise of the New God by James Tynion IV and Brian Hill. Getting some apocalypse action in there.
Batman Robin King on page 28.
Yep.
And then we get into the Justice League tie-ins.
Yes. Gee, I wonder if you'll be picking those up, Shane.
Yes, and yeah. I mean, I do.
Resignation in your voice.
I am reading Death's Metal. I didn't read the first 2 issues yet. I think I have them on the top of my pile. I'm not always thrilled when they tie into my regular series, considering I get so few regular series anymore.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's going to happen.
Crap on a cracker, my friend.
Yeah.
Do like the covers though, and I actually like the change they've made to the Justice League logo. It's a little bit of a simplified look to it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Wonder Woman 764, which is Diana and Max Lord, and the first thing I'm thinking of is Cooey Cooey Cooey.
Yep, I'm right there with you on that, Shane. Second thing I'm thinking of is, didn't Diana snap his neck that one time?
Oh, yeah. And the issues that come before this, I think touch on that. I'm not sure about that, but I did catch as I was doing my order. I don't remember if it was the last month or the one before that. And I read the blurb and said Max Lord. I'm like, oh, okay, well that's weird. I better get that because I'm interested to see what they're doing. But I think the blurb said something about, even though she may have snapped his neck, here he is, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that was 2 or 3 continuities ago, after all.
Yeah.
I'll say it the way I always say it. He got better.
Burn him anyway.
37. Speaking of Wonder Woman, look at that gorgeous, gorgeous Wonder Woman 1984 cover by Nicola Scott.
Ooh, that is a sight.
Oh, my.
Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Do.
And Wheezy's back on Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 1984 has Anna Obrapta, Louise Simonson, and Steve Pugh all on the writing. So yeah, that seems like a nice movie tie-in there. Still wondering how this movie's going to wind up being released because a lot can change in the next few months.
Yep. I will say, though, things that happen like Mulan getting released on Disney Plus for an extra $30 are not going to fly for me.
Yeah. I realize the only way the $30 works for anybody is if you're a family of 4 and you were going to see it in the theater anyway.
And I won't say that's not a valid way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's not my particular choice to see a movie, though.
Oh, exactly.
I was thrilled when they put certain things out there in the beginning of the pandemic to watch. Mm-hmm. I for one think I already paid for the service. I shouldn't have to pay for the movie as well.
Yeah.
I'm happy to just wait until it's available on there.
Which they said they haven't said exactly how long it's going to be, but it will be available on the service. So like even if it's 3 or 4 months after the fact, you'll still get it. So that's something.
Now, that's not to say that in my own mind, if something spectacular like some next Marvel movie or next DC movie that I was really gung-ho for, like a Wonder Woman, if that would happen, I wouldn't consider doing it, but it wouldn't be my first choice.
Now, I am saying now on the record that if this does well for Disney and they decide to release Black Widow in a similar fashion, if movie theaters are still closed, I am going to go in with all the other people that share Disney Plus with me because, obviously I'm not the only person using this login. And if they charge $30 for it, then it's literally going to be $10 a person. And it's like going to the movies and everybody gets to watch it. And that's that. And I'm watching myself Black Widow.
Yep. And that's what it'll take me to go, all right, maybe.
Yep. Exactly.
But it's I don't want to see it become a trend with every service and all their movies all doing that now.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100% on that one. I'd much rather see, movies go straight to Netflix or Hulu or what have you and, just deal with it that way.
Yeah.
Scoob, for a perfect example, Scoob was on HBO Max like 3 weeks after it came out.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't watched it yet, but it has been there. It's on my watch list.
Yep.
I started watching Hamilton instead.
I've been watching Killing Eve all this last week. Finally watching that series, and it is everything that they say it is and more. It's so good.
Yeah, that does look good. That's another one that's on my list.
Yep. I'm going to go down to page 39, and I'm going to have to sing it. It's time for Archimaniacs.
I was thinking that too.
And it's Art and Franco. Enough said.
Yeah.
Some good DC fun with Art and Franco. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, that'll be a whole lot of fun.
Yep. And Animaniacs is coming back soon. Speaking of which.
Yes, they are.
Yes, we've all already got baloney in our slacks.
Yes, we do. While Bill Clinton,
and we are grody to the max.
While Bill Clinton plays the sax.
We're Mani totally insane. I love that show.
Me too. I think Pinky and the Brain is going to be part of it again. It's not going to be a separate thing or anything like that. They're just going to have Pinky and the Brain segments.
I think so, Brain.
But striped pants make me look chubby.
Garf.
All right, what else we got in DC, gents?
Well, I'm still looking forward to the Batman Adventure continues. This issue 5 comes out on page 48.
Yep.
I think that's a great move for them to put something like that out.
Sure, absolutely. Yep.
Page 52, the Flash 763 has the Trickster with Flash's ring. That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a new creative team, too. Kevin Shinnick, writer, and art by Clayton Henry. I've seen some of the pencils he's turned in for Valiant, and they look very choice indeed. And, I like the looks of that story. It's the secret history of Barry Allen's Flash ring. In addition to it being an Axel Walker trickster appearance, it's also going to delve a little bit into the history of one of the Flash's favorite gimmicks. Sounds good to me. And right below that, a second issue this month on page 53, Flash number 764, where Dr. Alchemy finally makes his move.
Yeah, it's a good 2-issue start for Shinnick. I'm not really familiar with his work outside of what I've just seen solicited, so it's going to be interesting to see a new writer on it for the first time in all this time. And let's see what he has to do.
Justice League Dark and Odyssey continue. Legion of Superheroes with issue 10 on page 59.
Yep. The Mad Magazine number 16, I'll point out, on page 60, because it's probably the last Mad Magazine you will see for quite some time, as it's mostly gone. It was mostly gone to begin with. Like, I remember us talking about it on Comic Talk a long time ago.
Yeah.
That Mad had been shut down, but with this new restructuring out of DC, they're not even doing reprints anymore. So it's just going to be that with Mad, because whoever was left in that division was let go. So it's a sad day, and I hope that someone revives it in one way or another at some point.
Suicide Squad number 10 on page 64. I love that cover.
I thought you would.
Yep. Looks like he's being tickled. Anything Ted Cord makes you happy. That much I know.
Yeah.
And
I think I figured out. I was looking through some comics the other week looking for something, and I have one short box that contains all of the DC Blue Beetle from 1985 all the way to today. The whole gambit fits all in one short box.
Wow. That is a special short box right there. And, of course, I will, as usual, mention Young Justice and say Young Justice number 19. It's a Wonder Girl story. It's Bendis and David F. Walker, art by Scott Godlewski still. And that even the variant cover looks pretty cool by Darko.
I was just going to say, I don't usually go in for variant covers anymore, but that one looks really nice.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it has very much an old school feel to it in all the right ways.
Yeah, especially holding the little placard that says Young Justice. It reminds me of the 80s Giffen era Justice League poster that had like the class of.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That's such a good book.
I love it. Yeah, I think maybe 2 or 3 issues behind at this point, so I got to catch myself up.
I think I'm 2 issues behind at the moment.
Yeah. Page 68. Wonder Woman Dead Earth collected in a 4-issue hardcover by Daniel Warren Johnson. I will be waiting for a softcover or a cheap digital edition, but still love the artwork so much on this, and I'm happy to see a new and different take on Wonder Woman out there.
Yeah. Nice Deadman omnibus on page 71 for anyone interested. I have a good Deadman collection in a slipcase, so I wouldn't pick this up, but glad to see Boston Brand out there. Then I do like, even though I mentioned it earlier, on page 73, the Batman 3 Jokers hardcover, I like that the typeset is reminiscent of The Killing Joke.
Ah, good point. I'm gonna have to read this series at some point just to figure this whole thing out. But
yeah.
Talk about a mystery and a reveal that was way more relevant about 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was something they teased at the very beginning of Rebirth.
Yep.
And it just never went anywhere until suddenly it did. And just like Doomsday Clock, it's one of those, Jeff Johns creations that's sort of almost gone off into its own thing and it hasn't really been referenced in any other books.
Right.
Yeah.
If anybody had not read them, both the Superman Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow and Batman Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader, I like both of them. I mean, of course, the Superman one's a classic.
Yep.
But I really did enjoy the Batman Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader when that first came out.
Yeah, I'll agree on that one. It's one of those stories that's grown on me a little bit more over the years. When it first came out, didn't quite grab me as much, but I've went back and reread it not too long ago and actually appreciated it a lot more.
Yeah, and the Superman one it may be my favorite comic book story ever published.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I can be much more appreciative than that.
Oh, yeah.
Highest possible recommendation. Plus, as a bonus, it throws in For the Man Who Has Everything from Superman Annual number 11 and The Jungle Line from DC Comics Presents number 85. It's basically a Alan Moore writes Superman collection.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think this entire collection has come out before with that exact same cover.
I'm sure it has.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's one of those perennial collections they just keep putting out.
Yep.
Actually, I know for a fact they have, which makes me wonder if it's even going to be the same cover, because I just noticed the old DC logo in the corner.
Oh, yeah, right. In the lower right-hand corner. You're right.
So either somebody was lazy on the art, or it's going to be a different cover when it comes out.
Yeah.
The second part of Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow is one of the few comic books I have slabbed.
Wow.
Yeah. I slabbed it back in college, if I remember correctly. And I think it was like an 8.6 when I had it graded. But I remember I got it for like $4 or something like that. So I'm sure it's much more high in value if I actually bothered to sell it. But it's sitting in a shelf somewhere. Flash Year 1 trade paperback on page 75. One of my choices for Best of the Year for the CGS Awards. And now you can go ahead and read all 5 issues of it.
Right below that is the Forever People trade paperback. That's probably a nice collection to get to if you don't have it.
Mm-hmm. And they're putting out Heroes in Crisis again.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that.
Yeah, I guess because Tom King has new stuff coming out that they want to
maybe
have it back in, but I'm still not sold on it.
I know.
Yeah.
Boy, that art was gorgeous.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Speaking of gorgeous art, on page 80, they're putting out a Legends of the Dark Knight Jose Luis Garcia Lopez hardcover.
Yep, sure are.
And, I mean, come on. Talk about classic Batman art.
Yeah, I think I have... They put one out of him doing Superman, too, I think. I think I actually have that one.
You're probably right. That sounds familiar. And then the very next page...
Right above it, the Justice League Unlimited Time After Time. That's kind of interesting. I like seeing the old cartoon versions of the comic books getting reprinted.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They had the Batman and Superman volumes coming out pretty regularly for a while there.
Yep. They always had such good artwork on these things, too. Like, they always got the feel of the animated series just down right.
Yep. I always thought so.
Yep. And then 81, I'll mention in passing the collection of Rucka's Lois Lane, as I know we've had high praise for that. And this collects all 12 issues of it. Rucka and Perkins on Lois Lane, Enemy of the People.
I am definitely in for that.
Excellent.
Yep, I've been. Last month, I ordered my copy of Matt Fraction's Jimmy Olsen series in trade paperback, and now it's Rucka's Lois Lane's turn.
Nice.
Fantastic.
The Superman City of Tomorrow Volume 2 is kind of a odd solicit, in my opinion. Kind of out of left field.
Yeah.
It's just a collection of monthly Superman comics from around the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Well, they pull random things out like this out all the damn time over at DC. Marvel, too, for that matter. You'll see something just suddenly get traded, and you'll be like, what? X-Men comics from 2001?
Yeah, that's true.
And speaking of stories I haven't thought of in a while, page 86...
I was just looking at that.
Yep, 25th anniversary trade paperback of Underworld Unleashed.
Yeah.
I think of that story frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see it getting a silver anniversary treatment here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's one of your favorites, Murd.
Mm-hmm. And they even included Underworld Unleashed Patterns of Fear, which is part story and part handbook.
Nice. Very cool.
Written by Roger Stern.
Yep. And I will mention a couple of action figures, partially because I don't know how much longer these action figures are going to exist after what happened with the DC Direct line, and I hope that at least these continue to come out, because Batman The Adventures Continue, I still think is one of the coolest concepts that DC Direct have been putting out over the past couple of years. Essentially, what if the animated series had continued? And they have a very Dark Knight Returns-esque Batman in the Batman the Animated Series style. They have a Deathstroke the Terminator They have a really cool looking Robin and a Joker, that all of which are superb. And I'm hoping that this series continues in one way or the other with another distributor. And that's about it.
It does say being resolicited, so hopefully that means that they're produced or close to being produced.
Well, here's hoping. Alrighty, IDW?
Yeah.
Excellent. And what a way to start. Because here I am, great Scott, page 106. And proving that IDW will cross Transformers over with literally anything.
Well, and I think not long ago, Hasbro just put out, either announced it or put out for pre-order, a Back to the Future Transformer that you can get.
Yes.
The DeLorean.
You are correct. Yes. Yep. So this is probably some good Kismet cross-marketing on that. Yeah, but Transformers Back to the Future, issue 1 of 4 by Cavan Scott and Juan Samu. This looks like it's stupid fun.
Yeah.
And I dig the artwork. I really do. Good likenesses there.
Just when the timeline skews away.
Oh, boy.
Page 112, coming soon. Marvel Action Chillers 1 and 2.
By Jeremy Whitley.
Yeah.
Interesting.
4-issue bi-weekly miniseries featuring your hosts Doctor Strange and Ironheart, getting into a variety of Marvel Universe supernatural situations, like a Frankenstein story with Iron Man and Cap in the first issue, and number 2, Elsa Bloodstone, that early 2000s Buffy knockoff that grew into something more over time, created by Abnett and Lanning, if I'm not mistaken, goes hunting for Cap Wolf.
And
it was a wolf once, Jeremy.
And Elsa Bloodstone was a member of Warren Ellis's Next Wave, correct?
I will take your word for that, Ian. I have not. I don't think I actually bought Next Wave.
Okay.
Haven't read it, and probably I'm not in line to. I do know she was part of some kind of Monster Hunters concept that Marvel had going on within the past several years.
That is true. I'll point out one of IDW's Star Wars comics as well on page 115. Star Wars Adventures, Shadow of Vader's Castle. It's by Cavan Scott with art by Francesco Francavilla.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good way to get me interested in a Star Wars adventure title right there. And the Empire has fallen, but they know they will never be safe as long as they live in the shadow of Vader's castle. 2 young boys decide they're going to destroy the castle themselves, but a wizened old Mustafarian tries to pull them off by telling them tales to teach them the lessons they might otherwise have to learn the hard way. Quoting 3 tales of terror, sure to frighten even the scariest Sith Lord.
A Star Wars Halloween issue.
Got a cool concept on page 120. Love the name. Axel Lenore's What If We Were? And then trails off with ellipses. Teen girls rewrite the universe on a daily basis. Yeah, I guess they do. And this comic collection proves there's nothing better than using your imagination, except maybe talking nonsense with your friends. And why not both? Nice, laid-back, fantasy, sci-fi, everything book of just, people telling stories to their friends and, making them come to life in the pages of comic books.
Yeah.
Looks like a lot of fun. But then page 122, yet again, if Chris were here, I believe he'd be going, ugh, at this one. Lock and Key Sandman, Helen Gone, number 0. Writer Joe Hill, artist cover Gabriel Rodriguez. The crossover, none of us really thought we were ever going to get, because I don't think anybody actually even really thought that it was ever going to happen. Lock and Key and Sandman in one comic. That's a thing right there.
Yes. Now, the copy here says that this is a specially priced reintroduction of the Locke family. What's so special about a 32-page comic for $3.99 in 2020?
I have no idea.
Wondering if
that it would normally be more.
It was originally going to be free, but we decided to charge $3.99 for it.
Isn't that special?
Now give us your money.
Darned if I won't do exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really want to pick up. I mean, I know I mentioned it on the last episode that we had, but I really, really want to pick up the audiobook of Sandman at some point.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, because it just seems too damn cool.
It's a good cast of people.
Mm-hmm. And I will mention real quickly on page 129, the Usagi Yojimbo Origins, Volume 1. It collects Usagi Yojimbo Color Classics number 1 through 7. And I'm mentioning it because maybe you'll see more of it at one point. Maybe. I'm just saying. Maybe. If we can make it happen. Maybe. All right, I'm done. Maybe. All right, one more. Anything else from IDW?
No, other than to say that Voyage to the Stars number 3 looks like Big Trouble in Little China to me.
Good catch.
That's about all.
I'll mention Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Too Long a Sacrifice, because I just like Deep Space Nine stories, and it looks like a Halloween story with Odo in it. That's on page 134. Writers Scott Tipton and David Tipton with art by Greg Scott. Love that documentary they put out too about the history of Deep Space Nine. That was a fantastic thing.
Yeah. Guys, I'm going to step away a minute. It smells like something is hot in the house, and I want to go make sure everything's okay.
That is an excellent idea.
I'll be right back.
Alrighty. You got anything else in IDW, Murd?
No, I think I'm just as good as done.
Alrighty. Well, we will roll over to Marvel, and starting off things with some more X of Swords, which I think might actually be 10 of Swords.
Or how about Cross of Swords?
I liked your idea of Cross of Swords, but I was listening to a Marvel podcast earlier today, and they said 10 of Swords.
Okay, maybe it's a tarot thing.
Yeah. I still much prefer your version, and I might even continue to call it that because it just sounds like a cooler title. But either way,
thank you very much. We'll keep it in our head canon.
Exactly. Yep. But there's a lot more of that going on with Wolverine number 6 and X-Force number 13 and Marauders number 13 and Hellions number 5, New Mutants number 13. All right, there's a lot of issues in this thing.
Mm-hmm. A lot.
Yep.
And I kind of wish they were giving us more than like 3 disjointed little words or phrases to describe each chapter.
Agreed. Yeah.
Not really doing much to suck me in here.
Yeah.
Although I like the looks of the Sword Bearers of Araco in 10 of Swords Stasis number 1. There are a bunch of new characters who were the previous bearers of these mystical blades that all the X-Men characters are trying to get. And you gotta love a giant humanoid crocodile named Pog.
It's hard not to.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, well, Hickman loves his weird. Not much is a given.
I can appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And then right underneath the one that you just mentioned, we get the 50th issue of this particular volume of Amazing Spider-Man.
Wow.
Yep. And
where has the time gone?
Yeah, well, they dual release this. Like there was definitely like two a month for a while.
Yeah.
Which always seems to happen, but so it goes. Nick Spencer on writing and Pat Gleason on art. That has me because I know Gleason is no longer DC exclusive. Obviously, with this is further proof, but just the idea of Gleason on Amazing Spider-Man has me intrigued, and from that cover, ooh, that's going to be pretty artwork. Love me some good Gleason.
And it looks like Spidey's going to be dealing with a new villain named Kindred. Probably somebody from his past, more than likely somebody who's been dead at least once. If any indications suggest that this Kindred person has clawed its way back from hell with a mat-on for Spider-Man and knowledge of his dual identity and blah, blah, blah. And it looks like Spider-Man's going to have to get together a bunch of spider people to help him deal with this new threat as the Last Remains storyline unfolds.
And then right afterwards, issue 51, we'll have a crossover with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, there's more of that sweet, sweet Gleason for you.
Yes, indeed. And Gleason getting to do trippy-dippy Doctor Strange is A-okay with me.
Yes. Yes, it is worthy. It reminds me of some Chris Bercello images of the Good Doctor I think I remember seeing in the 90s.
Yeah. He did some really good Doc Strange in the 2000s as well with Jason Aaron.
Oh, all right.
It's technically the 100th issue of Spider-Woman, even though it's issue 5.
Yes.
So good for Spider-Woman for altogether having 100 issues of comics.
And it only took her 45 years.
Yep.
Oh, and let's not forget, on page 18, we've got another one of those Marvel snapshots issues that have been so enjoyable. It's always Kurt Busiek with his hand in it a little bit, and this particular one deals with Spider-Man, and it's also got Howard Chaykin, both writing and drawing to some degree. Underneath, of course, a cover by Alex Ross, or if you prefer, a variant cover by Chaykin himself.
Excellent.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, well.
Anything, Bertie?
And well, yes, it was, but everything's good. Most of us ate before I started recording, and my oldest boy decided he was busy doing something with a friend online, and he went down and made a pizza. So when the air conditioner turned on, I smelled something cooking, which was his pizza in the oven, but we had already eaten, so I didn't think anybody was downstairs making anything.
Got it.
So it's good to know it was just normal.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just your pizza oven, that's all.
Yeah, just the pizza.
Well, we went a little bit into Marvel.
That's fine.
Yep.
All good.
Yeah. Random mentions that we made, the fact that Spider-Woman now has 100 issues of comic books, and that Spider-Man hit issue 50 this month.
Excellent.
And Pat Gleason is on artwork for Spider-Man now.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And I'll also mention Spider-Man number 5 as finally the J.J. Abrams and Henry Abrams miniseries ends, as I feel like I heard about this a year ago.
Yeah, definitely. Is the paper different on these Marvel previews this month? Seems a little different.
I'm looking at it digitally, so Murd, you notice any difference?
Difference between...
I'll have to dig out. It seems like thicker paper they're using for the Marvel thing or something. It just feels different.
I had not noticed.
Well, if our paper maven says so, I will trust him.
Yeah, maybe.
Is there a difference in scent?
I was just smelling it. No. No, that smells normal.
All right. I'll bring up page 24, not because I think I'm going to pick it up, but I just think it's cool that they picked up this license.
Yeah.
Warhammer 40,000, Marnius Calgar #1, and it's written by Kieran Gillen with art by Jason Burrows. I know some people who are really into Warhammer, and I'm sure this is going to be right up their alley. It's never been a thing that I've been into personally, but to have Kieran Gillen involved with the miniseries is a good pedigree.
Yeah, sure
He's a
is.
great writer, and that Jason Burrows artwork looks very tight.
Agreed. And then they've got Rise of Ultraman, another licensed property that we mentioned last previews, continuing with its second issue this month.
I am liking the looks of this new Iron Man series brought to us by Christopher Cantwell and Cafu. It looks like the second issue. This is only the second issue, but he's giving us Arcade, Absorbing Man, Hellcat, Cardiac, and Korvac, all under one cover.
He's clearly writing this for you, Murd.
It feels a little bit like it, honestly. Yeah, Cardiac is one of my favorite second-tier characters of the 90s. It's nice that certain writers remember him fondly, as I do. And, of course, Korvac. I mean, enough said.
Yep. And the artwork is really tight.
Yes, things are going to be getting epic in short order in this series if Korvac is already being brought on board. So,
Yep.
Watch this title.
and what a Alex Ross cover, too.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Now it's going to be stuck in my head.
Sorry.
It's okay. But the 25th issue of that. Dan Slott and R.B. Silva have been on it for 25 issues now, and it's been great to see Fantastic Four back to the echelon that it should be. And this has a new artist, new villains, and new uniforms. And they do not show us what the uniforms are going to be, really. So you're just going to have to read and find out. Because somehow I don't think that they're the Neil Adams designed costumes on the very next page for the Antithesis miniseries, because that's a very Neil Adams design.
Yeah.
Yuck. It just looks like the Silver Scarab from Infinity Inc. times 4.
Oh, God. I was going to say it reminds me of the Jim Lee designed costumes from the Heroes Reborn universe.
Okay.
That would be bad enough.
Yeah. Got that 90s chic to them.
Yeah. I can't help but think that Neil Adams could probably do better.
Yep. For anybody who wants to go into our back catalog and look at some of the introducings that we've done, but also the spotlights that we've done, on page 36, we have Tales of Suspense, True Believers, introducing the Black Widow #1, which reprints Tales of Suspense number 52 and 53. We've also got Black Widow Red Guardian #1 in there, and Black Widow and Daredevil, Black Widow and Amazing Spider-Man, Black Widow Amazing Adventures, and Black Widow Dark Star from a Champions issue, of all things.
So it's a lot of key moments from the Black Widow's history, the first appearances of some people who are important supporting characters of hers and or will be making appearances in the Black Widow movie eventually.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the reprint of Avengers number 196 introducing Taskmaster, for example.
You got it. Yep.
But they're all in color for $1.
$1.
If you buy all of them, it's more than $1.
Still $1 each.
Okay, fine.
Math.
Ralph Macchio, not the Karate Kid, the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured.
Yeah, no. Black Widow, Widow's Sting #1, and the art by Simone Buonfantino. What a name. The whole new miniseries involving Black Widow, something stirring in the criminal underworld, involving the Maggia and Silvermane.
Page 44, we've got a new take on Werewolf by Night, co-written by a member of the Black Eyed Peas.
Really? I missed that.
Wow. Okay. Man,
Yep.
I so wish we could get interiors by Mike McCone. He teases me whenever he does a cover at this point. I'm like, come back, Mike. I miss you.
Me too. Well, I mean, lucky me, I'm still taking the journey of that was Exiles Volume 1. So I haven't had
okay.
yet.
Oh, man, that was some good stuff back in the day.
I definitely agree.
The main art is by Scott Eaton, so it's bound to be good. It's just, again, you tease me with McCone. Third issue of the Maestro miniseries by Peter David. Who killed the world is the question being asked in this one. Read it and find out. And if I read correctly, we're getting towards a finale of Immortal Hulk. Am I right? Because I think I heard somewhere that Al Ewing has a finale in sights, and I think it might be issue 50, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
Mm. That'll be a nice round number on which to go out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking up on page 52 and 53, 54 and 55, and I'm reading that null as Krull.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fonts they're using kind of encourages that error, right?
Yeah, it sure does.
I'm just going to call him Canal.
I'm like, wait, Krull? No, that's not right.
I don't care if the K is silent. His name is Canal.
Hand me a knife, gotta go to Knoebels.
I still think he looks way too much like the 90s design of Kane. And considering he's dealing with Venom, like it's hard not to see that.
Yeah. I see exactly what you mean. Yes.
Yeah.
The long hair, the kind of shredded, tendrilless, webbed cape thing going on.
Yep.
Well, apparently the center of the book where it's the King in Black poster just popped right out of my book. Okay.
Yeah, I have it as a PDF, and it does not look very good when you're just scrolling past it. A reminder to myself that Al Ewing is writing Guardians of the Galaxy, which means I need to pick up Guardians of the Galaxy at some point and read it.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Looks like number 7 is going to focus on Novar, the Grant Morrison-created version of Marvel Boy. It's going to have interesting things to do in the wake of the Empire, Kree-centric crossover that's just wrapping up.
Nice.
And that's a great cover by Raphael Albuquerque there.
Agreed. Yep. Talk about great covers. Let's go ahead and go down to Thor number 8, shall we? I'm thinking of the Avengers eating shawarma right now at the end of the movie. Yep. Ugh, beautiful. You get a Mjolnir, and you get a Mjolnir, and you get a Mjolnir. Everyone gets a hammer.
Yes.
Dum, 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 dum.
I feel like they never left, but the champions are back. Every time they get canceled, they wind up coming back for a miniseries.
I've never been one to care over much about Conan the Barbarian, but on page 66, here's something that kind of appeals to my geek sensibilities, faintly. The official handbook of the Conan universe, anniversary edition.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and it's a reprint, too. I didn't know that Marvel actually published one of these back in 1986, but apparently they did. And this is the anniversary reprinting to celebrate 50 years of Conan comics at Marvel.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw that from back in the 80s either. Huh.
Go figure.
So I guess it's it covers the first 16 years worth of Conan comics at Marvel, this thing. Covered by Michael William Kaluta.
Continuing my pointing out excellent covers, very next page 67. That is a absolutely gorgeous Star Wars cover for Star Wars number 7. Movie poster-esque. And then page 69, I look at Star Wars Bounty Hunters, and I think to myself, when did Cyborg Superman get into the Star Wars universe?
Yeah, sure does. That's what it looks like, all right.
Yeah. And I think that's it other than trades for me.
Yeah. The Omnibuy up front.
Omnibee, Omniboo.
Omnibuses.
Fine. It's a good one to have too. I mean, they've come out with omnibuses of the Captain America Brubaker stuff before. And this is a brand new printing, but it's if you don't own it, because it's absolutely worth it.
Or at least just borrow it, read it, and then give it away because it's too heavy.
Yes, that too.
Or give it back, I should say.
Some good Claremont and Windsor Smith and Ramita Jr. and Milgram and others omnibus action and Volume 4 of the Uncanny X-Men omnibus. Going through the very early 80s of the X-Men, including the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine miniseries.
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all the way up on page 100. Star Wars from the Journals of Obi-Wan Kenobi trade paperback. Did they ever trade that before?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good collection if you never had those issues and want to read some fun times past kind of stories.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'll jump back and hit these nice and quickly. Page 79, Marvel Masterworks Howard the Duck Volume 1, because it's Steve Gerber, Howard the Duck action. And it's a and it's a Marvel Masterworks, so you got to give that the treatment it deserves. And then the collection of Empire is on page 81 for anybody who waited for Empire like I did.
Yeah, glad that they're going straight to a nice affordable paperback, or several nice affordable paperbacks.
Agreed on that front. And I think that's
about all I had for Marvel.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just about it for me, too. It's a kind of a late month on trades. Anything else from you, Murd?
Doesn't look like it.
All right. And we jump back to previews. Now, I want to mention Dynamite #1 from Dynamite. However, I'm not entirely certain that the creative team that it says is going to continue to be on that, as there have been some shakeups over at Dynamite. However, I will mention it, and if those of you who wanted to check it out, if Declan Shelby is still on the book, or if the book is still happening, then it will come out in time for Halloween. But it looks like some good Halloween Dynamite action on page 144.
Okay. And a little more Halloween fun on page 150 is the 15th issue of Vampirella, which bills itself as a special Halloween horror issue and a perfect jumping-on point. Well, assuming that Christopher Priest isn't affected by the shakeups Ian just mentioned, he's supposed to continue to be the writer of this series, which, as given the fact that I nominated it for like best new series or something like that, and the best of 2019 awards, it's pretty good stuff. And I don't think a Halloween special will be any worse.
Mm-hmm.
Dynamite's been around for how many years, and I still cannot go through the catalog without thinking in my head, J.J. Walker.
Dynamite!
Yeah.
Clearly they intended that when naming that their company that.
Somewhere in the house I still have a collection of Good Times trading cards that I had as a kid.
I'm actually good to jump to Boom unless you guys have anything else in Dynamite.
No, I don't have anything. I don't really have anything in Dynamite this month.
Okay. Lower the boom, Ian.
Okay, and I will lower the boom directly onto page 182 because it's not just a Matt Kint book, it's a Keanu Reeves book.
Whoa.
And Alessandro Vitti on art. Come on, guys. Berserker #1. This is going to be stupid, but I don't care. It's going to be great. I mean, essentially, the main character is Keanu Reeves, and it's going to be some, warlord action with working for the U.S. government to fight battles too violent and too dangerous for anyone else. Like, oh my God, this is pure action gold right here. Love it.
I think I'd like to take a quick step back to page 178 here.
Sure.
Just for the old school science fiction fans in the audience. A 12-issue maxi series called Dune House Atreides. First issue coming out in October, hopefully. Co-written by Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert, who I believe is the son of Frank, the creator of Dune and its worlds.
I believe you're right.
Illustrated by Dev Pramanik. So this is a prequel to the groundbreaking Dune, brought to us in comic book form for the first time. So I just read the original Dune novel for the first time last summer, I think it was.
And there will be.
Did you like it, Murd, when you read it?
Yes, I liked it.
And there's a new movie coming soon.
Yes, there is.
Mm-hmm.
As I was reading it, I was just marveling to myself why there wasn't a streaming series based on this right now. It just seemed to lend itself so well.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Well, maybe if the movie does well enough, they'll do a more paced version as a series.
Yeah.
Collection of Juliet Takes a Breath on page 186. It's Gabby Rivera, and it's an adaptation of her novel. And I've heard very good things about the novel, so I'd like to see what the graphic novel version of it is, and the fact that Gabby's writing it, and it's illustrated by Celia Mascote here, and I like the illustrations, so let's see how it goes. And I believe the dynamite has been boomed on my end, but I will continue to scroll through and see if anything else pops up.
I'm glad to see Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance 12 is coming out, so that maybe a nice collection will follow.
All right. I think I'm ready for the quote-unquote rest of the book.
The rest of the book.
Mm-hmm. Page 206. We've got a new company called Ablaze. And it's Ablaze Publishing. And it looks like they're doing both American and manga stuff. And they've got Mirka Adolfo's Unsacred. The extraordinary talent of Mirka Adolfo from DC's Bombshells brings to life a heaven and hell filled with humor and lovable characters. It's about a voluptuous angel named Angelina and Damiano, a mischievous devil, who are madly in love. And while she does not intend to give in to temptation, he would very much like her to. A tale of their bizarre and spicy daily life. And, looks a little bit on the cheesecake end, but at the same time also looks like a lot of fun.
Nothing wrong with a modest slice of cheesecake every now and then.
That is true, especially if it's Juniors. Juniors. Not a sponsor. The child in me has to mention X-Men, The Art and Making of the Animated Series hardcover by Eric Lewald on page 210, as that is a behind-the-scenes story that I want to read.
Oh, wow.
Yep. That very much got me in the comics, and happy to see that it's getting the love and appreciation that it deserves. And speaking of Dune, Murd, there's also a Dune Book 1 graphic novel solicited on the very same page.
Uh-huh. And, a similar creative team from the looks of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the original Dune, adapted by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson, with art by Raoul Allen and Martin Patricia, cover by Bill Sienkiewicz.
Nice.
I always like to shout out Action Lab publications where appropriate, and they've got something this month that looks like some fun. On page 212, with a much larger ad on the facing page, Sasquatch in Love. 4-issue miniseries about a well-read, sensitive guy who just happens to be the last Sasquatch on Earth, who falls in love with a documentary filmmaker trying to catch him on camera. And so he has to get a local, his best friend, a human, a local veterinarian, to play, Cyrano for him, and will act as the go-between. So that sounds like fun. So I think I'll probably give that a try.
And I will scroll down to page 218 as an original graphic novel by Steve Orlando and Philip Kennedy Johnson, Kill a Man. The truth is worth fighting for. And we got mixed martial arts action. So that's all I need to hear, especially out of a guy like Steve Orlando. Abandoned overnight by his training camp, his endorsements, his fans, and his sport, James Bellier looks to regain his title shot as he's forced to turn to the last person he ever wanted to see again, Xavier Maine, once fighter in his own right, and the man James watched kill his father. Good artwork on the corresponding pages as well.
And some more good artwork on the next new thing from Aftershock on pages 220 and 221. We Live. Co-written and drawn by Inaki Miranda. It's a post-apocalyptic tale about one lucky child among 5,000 lucky Earth children selected to be rescued by an alien race in the future world of 2084, where the world is racked by calamities and crawling with monsters. It's very lushly and colorfully illustrated with some really neat-looking future mutant creature designs.
Yeah, it sure is.
Got some things that look like a cross between a lion, a peacock, and a bush.
That sounds like the setup to a joke if I've ever heard it.
Yeah. A lion, a peacock, and a bush. Walk into it. Never mind.
Page 230. Tank Girl has a new publisher. Albatross Funny Books has picked up Tank Girl, and this is King Tank Girl #1 by Alan Martin and Brett Parson. And that would be Tank Girl's co-creator, Alan Martin, returning to the series. To tell a brand new Tank Girl story.
On 232, I just want to mention Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Volume 15.
Oh, wow.
I can remember seeing Jeff Kinney at conventions for Volume 1 all those years ago. I think I saw him at Baltimore Comic-Con, and then not long after that, my oldest boy started reading them, and he read the first good chunk of them until he kind of grew out of that and didn't want to read them anymore. But yeah, 15. Wow.
Yep. And it's had multiple movies based on it at this point, and it's become a real thing.
Page 244, The Riverdale Diaries. Hello, Betty.
I really have to read that like, hello, Betty.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Watching Animaniacs, how do you not say something like that?
Exactly. Oh, that looks really cute.
Oh, yeah, J-Bone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's also just a regular comic-sized Archie Halloween special on page 243, which is the kind of wholesome, lighthearted, simple Halloween fun I'm probably going to be in the mood for. So for $3, I'll order a copy of that, sure. Really enjoyed reading the Archie, the Man from Riverdale reprints that I burned through back in June. Page
248, I'll mention another book that's being turned into a graphic novel, Long Way Down, by Jason Reynolds. It's a best-selling novel that's being turned into a graphic novel with artwork by Danica Novgradov. And it's all about Will's older brother, Sean, who has been shot dead. And Will feels the sadness so great he can't explain it. But in his neighborhood, there are the rules. 1, crying, don't, no matter what. 2, snitching, don't, no matter what. And 3, revenge, do, no matter what. But bullets miss. You can get the wrong guy, and there's always someone else who knows how to follow the rules. That is a very gripping description that I'll be willing to give a shot. Long Way Down.
Yeah. Speaking of books that are getting graphic novel adaptations, at the bottom of that same page, there's a new, pretty drastically abridged graphic novel adaptation of Gaston Leroux's Phantom of the Opera, written and drawn by one Varga Tomi. And if the cover is any indication, it should be a pretty lush piece of art.
Very cool.
So, yeah, that's something to consider. I never did finish the novel when I was a kid.
Peter Milligan has a new series on page 252, American Ronin, out of AWA Studios, illustrated by someone going by the name of ACO, and colored by Dean White. Brand new series by Peter Milligan. It's about democracy falling, real power now lies with nation states. You get the idea. It's another post-apocalyptic tale, essentially, and whether one Ronin can make a difference.
If you ever wondered what Lazarus would be like if Peter Milligan wrote it, read this and find out.
Yep. Sounds like.
Adam, did you look past page 260 yet?
Well, I've been through the whole book, yeah.
The DC Christmas Carols, We Wish You a Harley Christmas hardcover.
a cute idea. They'd have a better chance of selling me on it if they didn't fixate on Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that.
Well, I mean, she has Christmas colors already. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
It still bothers me. She was sitting around the table when Superman's announcement came through in that one issue a few months ago.
Oh, yeah. That was weird.
That was weird.
I wonder if one of the carols included is the Harley and the Ivy. It needs to be.
Yeah. Page 264 has a bunch of cute stuff that I'm going to throw out there rapid fire. Dial Books has I Am Anne Frank and I Am Benjamin Franklin by Brad Meltzer and Chris Iliopoulos.
Yep, those are awesome.
They are very awesome, and I'm glad that there's more in the series to be told. And then Disney Lucasfilm Press. I'm struck by the cover and how cool it looks. Star Wars: A Jedi You Will Be.
Jedi You Will Be.
I feel like they should have just done the entire text in Yoda style, like
Yeah.
40th anniversary of Star Wars you will celebrate. But celebrate the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back and learn how to use the Force in this hilarious and stylized picture book. Narrated by everyone's favorite Jedi Master, Yoda. I mean, it's not everybody's, but he's some people's.
Hey, it might be in Yoda speak then.
Then I am sold. I am. Well, that's just Frank Oz speak.
No, not far. Not far. Page 265, Lego minifigure visual history hardcover.
Nice.
I always enjoy those kind of Lego books.
Oh, sure. I'm always surprised at just how many minifigs there are,
Oh, yeah. Take you to him, I will.
Uh-oh, we've lost him. We've lost him to Yoda speak.
Is this the first time we're seeing this on page 278, the Overstreet Price Guide, volume 49? That's the newest version?
I don't know, actually. That's a very good question.
Joker and Firefly.
I know for a fact that I have a copy of that in my apartment right now.
Okay.
So
All right. Good.
that for Christmas, I recognize the Joker cover.
Well, there we go.
Done and done.
Yep. Pixar's Soul. That's a new Pixar movie that's soon to come out, correct? I think so.
I haven't heard any of that, actually.
Yeah, because I see here Disney's Pixar Soul Little Golden Book. And
Yeah.
it says, in 2020, Pixar Animated Studios takes you on a journey from the streets of New York City to cosmic realms. I am looking this up right now because I guarantee you it's been delayed, because that seems way like I would have heard something about it by now.
I know I saw a reference to this soul thing just in a TV commercial. It was, I want to say it was like a series of Happy Meal toys or something like that that had to do with Disney properties. And they threw Soul in there despite the film not having been released anywhere yet.
Okay, it's tentatively scheduled for release on November 20th.
Okay.
That could easily change, obviously, with the world being the world right now, but for now, that's when it's scheduled to be released. And I am surprised I have not seen a trailer for this, because usually Pixar advertising is fierce.
Yeah.
Got something interesting here on page 281 for fans of the classic animated film Heavy Metal. Cold Dead War #1, which is apparently a official sequel to the well-known heavy metal segment B-17, which was written by George C. Romero, son of legendary director George A. Romero of Day of the Dead and so forth.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah. And that's coming at you from Heavy Metal Magazine Press. Who else?
On page 287, pretty sure this has been released before, but this is the oversized deluxe edition of it. The 7 Lives of Alejandro Jodorowsky. What a character that Jodorowsky is. I mean, talking about Dune, he attempted to do a adaptation of Dune in the early 70s, which I believe I've mentioned once or twice before. But the documentary, Jodorowsky's Dune, is required watching for anybody who's a fan of 70s and 80s sci-fi, because so many of the ideas and concepts that were there for that version of Dune wound up working their way into other things like Alien and Star Wars. And it's a very interesting look at what could have been and what almost happened. And to the point where I think Salvador Dali was going to be one of the actors in his version.
Wow.
Yeah.
Actor yet. Wow.
Yes, indeed. And I think Mick Jagger was attached at one point for his version of Dune, and it very, very different what if scenario of if that would have been made, just how different the scope of sci-fi would have been.
Coming down around the world, get your spice from planet doo-doo. Page 289 has one of those cutesy things, Gremlins, Gizmo's 12 Days of Christmas Storybook.
Don't read it after midnight, though.
Don't get it wet.
Nope.
Definitely do not feed it.
Nope.
Yeah. And the same page has both a Michael Allred David Bowie coloring book and a Harry Potter coloring book, and, this is really cool, the Dark Crystal Bestiary, written by Adam Cesare with art by Dark Crystal concept designer Brian Froud. It's just a guide to the fauna of the world of Thra, as seen in the Jim Henson film Dark Crystal.
Very nice.
Page 290 has the Dark Crystal Touch and Feel Book of Opposites board book. And right above it, Back to the Future Telling Time with Marty McFly.
Great Scott, 1. Great Scott, 2.
At 12:30, the timeline skews.
I got something all the way down at page 293. Anybody got anything before then?
I did want to give a quick shout out to something on page 284. This is kind of the Pants report, but Pants reportedly is all about classic TV right now. And at the bottom of 284, we've got a hardcover collection from Hermes Press of My Favorite Martian, the comics based on that classic Ray Walston comedy series as produced by Gold Key Comics back in the 60s. Written by the enormously prolific Paul S. Newman, who I think at one time held and might still hold a Guinness World Record for most comics written, and art legendary Russ Manning.
Wow.
I used to love that TV show. I still do. It's just not on as much anymore.
I've only seen it a few times, but when I have, it's been very fun. All right, so 293. I've got 2 back-to-back here. One I'm a lot more interested than the other. Hollywood Trash #1 I'm very interested in, especially after watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and the Netflix series Hollywood, the miniseries.
I still have to do both of those.
When you get to Hollywood, the miniseries, Shane, go into it knowing, both of them present, sort of alternate takes on Hollywood, like what ifs in some ways. But you're really going to get that in the Netflix mini because there's a combination of people that existed and people that didn't exist, and movies that never happened, and so on and so forth. So it's very much a wish fulfillment version of Hollywood. But this Hollywood Trash here sounds awesome for the Hollywood, famous to celebs, son, and murder cults, which is kind of true. I mean, when you think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm very much in for that. About 2 garbage men who are running to survive one epic day of sword fights, forest fires, and giant mechs. At least there's hazard pay. And then right next to it was Villainous #1, which struck me more for the cover and the character design than anything else. But Stoney Williams is writing that one. Both of these are out of Mad Cave Studios, by the way. And this one's about one of the newest superpowered people to join the coalition of heroes, doing her best to navigate and the dizzying world of superheroes. And her name is Tilly. So it's a nice ground floor superhero tale with a secret.
Page 298 from Oni. If you've been jonesing for a good vampire heist story, there's something called The Vein, about a small group of vampires who knock over a blood bank in 1941 and are on the run for the authorities for decades thereafter. It's something no one's thought to do with vampires yet.
Mm-hmm. I just finished the latest season of What We Do in the Shadows, and that may be my current favorite version of vampires.
I'm pretty sure it's mine.
Yep. Bat!
I have to watch that too.
Oh, it's so good. And there's an episode from this season, Shane, with Mark Hamill as a guest star.
Yeah, I knew he was going to be on.
It's brilliantly done.
The Legend of Jackie Daytona. Human man with a hat and a toothpick.
So deserving of the Emmy nom this year. I was so happy to see that happen.
Yes, I wish them well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'm jumping ahead a bit. I'm up at Tomorrow's, and they've got a lot of good stuff this month coming out. I mean, they always have good stuff, but this month especially. Back issue 123, which looks like a Green Arrow, Carol Ferris cover, superhero romance issue. Page 336, Retrofan magazine number 12 features Three's Company, which I love that show. And right below it, Holly Jolly celebrating Christmas, past in pop culture.
Wow.
That looks awesome.
It does.
That is the kind of thing we might actually be able to sell at the Christmas barn.
Nice.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Good call.
A little bit before that, on page 325, I will call this one out for many a reason. The Marvel Age of Comics, 1961 to 1978, Taschen 40th Anniversary Edition, written by Roy Thomas.
Nice.
What else do you need right there? It's some darn good reference material focusing on the beginning of the Marvel Age of Comics.
If anyone's playing that Funko Pop strategy game, you can get a Golden Girls set.
I owned the Golden Girls figures at one point, but
did you?
Yeah. We wound up giving them to a friend of ours because we didn't have the room for them anymore. But we do have some Golden Girls magnets on the fridge.
Nice. Thank you for being a friend.
Betty White's hanging in there. All right, and I am approaching the end of my bolt being shot, but
as am I.
I am continuing to scroll, and we'll get down to manga at some point. Got anything else pre-manga, Murd?
I don't think so.
Okay. In that case, I will go with 361 and Kodansha, and I will mention Blue Period Volume 1, which was a winner of the 2020 Manga Taisho Grand Prize. And it's about studious Yatora, who leaves a dry life of studying good manners behind for a new passion, painting. But untethering yourself from all your past expectations is dangerous, as well as thrilling. And this is a hardcover volume, which is a little bit out of the norm for new comics. But the fact that it is a winner of a grand prize makes me think that it's well worth a look. And that's yet again on page 361, Blue Period Volume 1. They do call out the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein on 364, the manga adaptation of such, because 'tis the season and all that.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of seasonal manga, allow me to call one out for a change.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, pages 372 and 373 from Tokyo Pop. The maxi series Nightmare Before Christmas, Zero's Journey, about Zero the ghost dog and his misadventures through Christmas Town, which ran for a total of, I think, 17 issues, including a zero issue for Zero's Journey and also a double zero issue. Coming out with a collector's edition, which is like a little 5-inch by 7.5-inch like manga digest thing. 416 black and white pages for $20. and I've been waiting for a trade of this kind to read this series, because I do enjoy Nightmare Before Christmas, as I know many people do. And as you said, Ian, 'tis the season. This is the perfect time for Tokyo Pop to be coming out with this thing, and I'm going to be buying one.
Yes, indeed.
Nice.
Tokyo Pop continues to have a very good relationship with Disney, and happy to see that one coming out.
I thought I saw a Transformers Volume 4 or something somewhere in the manga.
You may have. We did call out...
there it is.
Yep. Which page?
Viz Media 382.
Okay.
Volume 3.
Yep. Yeah, we called out Volume 1 a couple of previews ago, just because it's material that's never made it to the U.S. before, which is pretty cool.
I kind of thought I had it on my list, but I think I might have taken it off. I might try to get that again.
Yeah, it may also. I mean, depending on what your public library system is like, it may may very well be something that winds up there.
Still holding out for softcover.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will jump back to 377 because they know how to win me over with a name like this and a premise like this. Broke Young Man plus Chainsaw Dog Demon equals Chainsaw Man. Sounds like a Stan Lee created character right there. Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, like a Stan Lee media character.
Exactly. Oh my God. Denji's
Sam Sawtooth.
Good call, Shane. It would totally have an alliterative name.
Oh my God, I love it. That's it. His name is now officially that. His name is not Denji. It is Sam Sawtooth.
Sam Sawtooth.
A poor young man who will do anything for money, even hunting down devils with his pet devil dog Pochita. He's a simple man with simple dreams, drowning under a mountain of debt. But his sad life gets turned upside down one day when he's betrayed by someone he trusts. Now, with the power of a devil inside him, Denji's become a whole new man. Chainsaw Man! Oh my God. It's ridiculous and I need it. Tatsuki Fujimoto. And it's one of Shonen Jump's hottest new series. I'm in. And on that note, I believe I've shot my bolt.
Yeah, me dose.
For a change, I actually had one thing in the back of the book that I thought was kind of neat.
Cool.
All right, so we're going to just jump straight to page 86 in the back of the previous catalog, the merchandise section. USAopoly is giving us a Elf the Movie version of Monopoly, featuring the likeness of Will Ferrell, and also Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Operation. Looks like you get to remove body parts from the Bumble Snow Monster.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, my God. Yet again, something that was literally made for you.
Maybe I'll find it under my tree.
Maybe. And, my bolt was shot, but I will jump back for 3 seconds to page 384, because the Star Wars fan in all of us would like to see the never-before story of how Leia comes to join the rebellion against the evil Empire. And this is a manga by Claudia Gray and art by Haruichi. Star Wars Leia, Princess of Alderaan, Volume 1, out of Yen Press on 384. I almost missed it until I saw it. And artwork looks cool, and you don't often see what appears to be an American writer on a Japanese manga. And that looks to be the case here. So it's a trade paperback, 192 pages on page 384 there. Star Wars Leia, Princess of Alderaan, Volume 1.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yep. All right, bolt shot. Fantastic. And we did it.
And shot it is.
We did it, and for the first time in a long time, it's a 3-person team all the way through.
The 6-legged race across the finish line.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that. Some final notes here in the land of CGS. Apologies for anybody who was trying to download our last previews episode just in time for the end of the month, but unfortunately we were having website issues, which have since been cleared up, so it should be on everybody's feeds as well as our Book of the Month Club episode. But may have came out slightly after the month of July concluded, but hopefully it was still useful to you in one way or another. But at least this one will be out nice and timely for you folks. And of course, as usual, thank you so much to anybody who has been donating to the show in one form or another, whether it be a one-time donation or a monthly. We really do appreciate it. Anything that you throw our way keeps the lights on in the internet and in the studio one way or another. And we thank you so much for putting anything you can towards the show. And if you do want to donate, it's over at comicgeekspeak.com/donate.php. And that's it from me. So
yeah, I'm good too.
Okay. Well, you've got one more thing to do, Shane.
I do have one more thing.
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it.
Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com. To send an email, the address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillacommunity.com. Let us know what your things out of previews that we may have missed. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. As Ian said, thanks to everyone who contributes to the show in any form, way, or fashion. We appreciate it. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
You got it on Wednesday, and you was psyched about it, going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything that geeks love. From kids to laser beams,